evening. We are grateful. This is a very special evening. I want to first and foremost off with acknowledging the ancestors to our lands. We are living on the Pueblo lands. There's 19 Pueblos around us. We thank the Pueblo ancestors. We thank the Pueblo people that are the future ancestors still alive today for allowing us to be on their lands. And we also want to thank all the ancestors on the lands you come from. And we also would like to acknowledge the Southern Hemisphere ancestors where the lands and waters of Elena come from. All those ancestors we believe are with us. We are all together. We are linking and bridging globally, not just alive people, but we are globally bringing our ancestors together to commingle while all of us are here for this hour with our beautiful presenter, Sarah Young Bear Brown. And we would also like to talk about the virtual events that we have, where these virtual events are recorded and archived on our website in case your friends and family can't be here tonight. Just tell them to click on to our website, go to virtual events, and click on your name, Sarah, and they can watch it again. As always, Indigenous Ways is dedicated to bridging cultural exchange with people globally so that we could stop the doctrine of conquer and divide. We want all of us to be together and realize that we all bleed the same blood. It is red. We are five-fingered people, and we need to learn from each other's different walks of life. We don't need to hate each other for our different walks of life. So that's what Indigenous Ways is all about. So those of you here tonight, thank you very much. We have our virtual events Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time. We have our performance night called Concert Series Friday nights. Always we have ASL interpreters who we are very grateful for that are raising the bar for expectations for Indigenous and all other people to have access to communication. So I would like to hand it over to Sarah Young Bear, who will be our presenter tonight. Sarah is an amazing role model that comes from the Meskwaki tribe, also known as the Sac Fox. I did some research on Sarah's tribe before writing a little blog about her, and I realized that there's French history in Sarah's tribe, and the Sac word Sac and Fox is a French word, and amazing history of the Sac and Fox, also known as Meskwaki tribe. They are not a reservation, they are a settlement, so it's called a Meskwaki
and
settlement.
I'll have to let you guys know about the Fox Wars. It's a very interesting story, but we'll save that one for later.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. So how did I get to know Sarah Young Bear? Through Facebook and through deaf friends that said, you guys need to meet. So we met, and we just started a brand new friendship, and I'm just learning more and more about Sarah. So tonight, along with all of us here tonight, we are going to learn more and more about Sarah Young Bear. So let's give it up for Sarah Young Bear Brown. Woo!
Hello, hello. Hold on just a moment, everybody. Let me pull up my document here. All right, are we ready? Okay, hi, my name is Sarah Young Bear Brown. This is my sign name for those that know sign language, and I'm Meskwaki. My name in Meskwaki is Gika Mikwa, and my name means woman standing on the edge of the river. I'm the mother of two beautiful children, and we live in Meskwaki, on the Meskwaki settlement. So I really live in two different worlds. I am a Meskwaki woman, but I'm also deaf. And so I live again in two different worlds. Over the years, I faced many barriers like racism, discrimination. And it's never been an easy road for me. I have dealt with lots of setbacks, lots of challenges, challenges that caused me to fight going uphill. Some things were downhill in life. And so, story today will be about my life, my upbringing, the trials that I've gone through. And what I ask is just listen and be respectful to the story without judgment. This is about me. This is my life. So I was born profoundly deaf. Didn't find out that I was deaf until I was 9 months, so still a baby at the time. She noticed that when there were loud noises, that I would still be sitting there or sleeping peacefully. And after taking me to the doctor, they found out that I was deaf. So at the time, my family ended up having an educational specialist come in to teach all of us sign language. I was 18 months by that time. So I've been signing since then. As I got a little older, as a toddler, I got my Meskwaki name, and it was given to me by Marcella, who is my great aunt on my father's side of the family. So Marcella gave me my tribal name. My dad's side of the family is the Bear Clan, or excuse me, my dad's side of the family is the Fish Clan. My mother's is the Bear Clan. My children receive their tribal names from the Fish Clan. My son's name is Badito, and it means old fish man. And my daughter's name is Namasikwa, which means water woman. And again, their names came from the Fish Clan. So there are several different tribes or clans: fish, bear, wolf, fox, chicken, swan, and thunder. And my children are Meskwaki, but also Choctaw. My partner is Choctaw and is also deaf. And they are all members of the Choctaw family, which is called the Mississippi Choctaw Indian tribe. So I've really considered about how I can pass on traditions as a Muskogee woman. And I participate in lots of traditional activities. I go to feasts, ceremonies, and other activities. And I really made it a point to learn about my culture. And I'm so very thankful for my mother and also my Uncle John that use American Sign Language to communicate with me and to teach these traditions to me and to make sure that I understand what is going on and to understand the Muskogee way. I'm not left out. They're sure to make sure that I am included in all of our activities and traditional activities and that I'm learning. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. Typically, when we go to feast, we eat. And it's a lot of hard work, the preparations for the meals, cutting up the food and the meats and chopping the vegetables. And during the winter, oh my goodness, it's even worse because the meat is frozen. So if you can imagine what that's like to have to cut through frozen meat. But that's the way that it was during the old days, right? In the winter, you had to cook everything. And you had to cook in all four seasons. It didn't matter if the temperature was cold or hot. It was the way of life. And so I've learned those traditional methods of preparations. And again, my mother and my aunt have taught me how to prepare for feast. And they taught me these traditional ways so that I can teach them to my children and future generations. I'm the seventh generation, and so it's very important for me to understand our ways and to continue to teach those to future generations. When I was four turning 5, I went away to school in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And I had to be 5 at the time. I know that I was a little girl, and it was a 4-hour drive from my home. And my mother sent me there because she wanted me to have the best education possible. So she'd rather send me to Iowa School for the Deaf than to have me in the special needs classrooms in the local schools. Communication was key. This is the biggest change that I've ever faced in my life. I was the only person of color in the school. And again, it was at Iowa School for the Deaf. So I remember entering the classroom and seeing nothing but white individuals. Iowa itself is 75% white or Caucasian. So again, this was a big difference in the world that I had known. And to be so young, I was terrified. I lived in the dorms. It was a scary and terrifying experience. I wouldn't let people get close to me. I wouldn't let them hug me. It was just very different than anything that I'd known being raised with my Native American family and then being sent away at the age of 5 to school. And it was hard. It was a challenging time for me. I was so lost. I cried every day. I cried every night. I wanted to be back with my mother and with my family. And luckily, the dorm teachers and those that took care of me, they were very, very loving and very, very nurturing to me. They treated me well. They did. I mean, the school was a blessing. I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to go there. They were respectful of me and respectful of who I am. I had to turn my phone off. I remember when I was 12 years old, I was still at Iowa School for the Deaf. I was there until I graduated. But at 12, I became a teenager, went through puberty and the change, and I started my period. And I remember explaining to somebody that I had started my period. I explained this to my mother, and she contacted the dorm supervisor and let them know. And the supervisor said, okay. And this was a phone conversation between my mom and the dorm supervisor. So my mom talked about our cultural differences, which I think the supervisor was pretty surprised to hear, and what was required as a Meskwaki woman during this time. But they followed it. They allowed me to go home. And part of our tradition is when a girl becomes a woman, it's a sacred time. It really is. That girl has to go into isolation for 4 days. And so it's again a sacred time, but the school respected all of our culture and our traditions and what I needed to do in order to develop my identity. So I was allowed to leave school for the week for cultural reasons. Once I graduated from high school, I entered the world and things were different. I was very naive. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I was trying to find my footing in this world. And my mother gave me a big book at the time. She said, read this. And I did. And it was dropping. I was amazed to learn about the history of our people and the history of our homeland. And literally, my jaw was on the floor as I learned about culture and history and started to understand. So I did more research, but there were really no role models, no Indigenous deaf people that I could look up to. I do have two deaf cousins in my family, but they're men. I'm the sole deaf woman in my family. And if you can imagine, I thought I was the only Indigenous deaf woman in this world. I really thought that I was alone, that there was nobody that looked and that was exactly like I was. And I felt disconnected. So I decided to go to school, to a native school, the North Dakota, in North Dakota. And it was called the United Tribes Teaching College. And it's a native school. But I really wanted to learn more about myself. And that was the North Dakota Technical College, excuse me. I wanted to learn more about Indigenous people and our culture. I really wanted, so I grew up again, I went to school, the Iowa School for the Deaf. So I learned about deafness there in that part of my culture, but I hadn't yet learned much about my Indigenous culture. And I wanted to learn about different tribes and community and feel like I was a part of and the same. So I got to learn that in college and I got to do more research. And it was such a valuable and a rich experience. And then I faced more challenges. The college didn't provide sign language interpreters. I had to have a sign language interpreter. That was a frustration that I dealt with. And how I did, some of the other students in class would write notes for me. They would take notes and they would give them to me. That's how I got through college. I did find a few of my peers as well that knew some basic sign language because they had friends that were deaf and that's how they learned. So they could sign a little and they could gesture. And they, when we had the same class, would actually be my interpreters. I remember art class was one of those classes. But surprisingly, I passed. I passed all of my classes and I made it through. It was a complete challenge because again, my thought after that was next time I go to school, I have to have ASL interpreters. No question about it, but I made it through. And so then I thought, I've dealt with this challenge, not having interpreters. I've dealt with being the only person of color in an all white school for the deaf, which was another challenge. I've also dealt with other challenges. In 2015, I set up a group called Gathering Deafatives. And the purpose of the group is to have an Indigenous deaf community where we can invite allies other Indigenous people or hearing people, to teach about culture and to teach about history and to welcome all. So I established that group in 2015. That's something else that I have overcome. I post lots of vlogs as a result of this to provide education to our community about things like Abraham Lincoln, um, and the slaughterings that have happened for Indigenous people. I teach about Christopher Columbus and Thanksgiving and why I'm in support of that holiday. So there are various issues and topics that I talk about via my vlogs. And that's something that I still do. And I still teach and still educate and make vlogs. So in 2015, there were also other changes in my life. At that time, I really started to think about decolonization and the use of the sign Indian, signed like this. I learned more about it and really felt like that sign did not fit into my identity as I had come to know it. And so I decided that this would be the sign for natives. That is my sign for myself. And so, how the deaf community came to know about that, or whether or not people agree or disagree with that, I've heard different opinions, but this is my opinion and my stance, and that's my sign for Native.
Are you ready? So that moment was really impactful, and I really want to express deeply from my heart some of my battles and struggles that I've been through. It's been a really long battle against, in particular, alcohol. I am recovered. I am sober. I am recovering, and I've been good. I've been fine, but I'm still learning how to be a better mom for my children. I look back and I'm trying to learn how to be a better mom and how to go on. But I started drinking when I was about 11, my battle with him. I was partying a lot around 15 when I was in high school with my friends. We would always be drinking. And then right about the time after I graduated and went out into the world, I started going around to different bars, to different clubs, over the weekends, almost every weekend, pretty regularly, I would be going out. And so one year it just reached a peak and it was horrible. When I was 22, I was raped. Someone hurt me. That moment was what started causing me to drink even more. I felt lost. I felt terrible, and I was angry, and I was always drunk and wondering why would this person hurt me? Why would they do this to me? And I would pass out again and again and again in multiple locations. In a ditch one time I was found. I was taken to a hospital after I was passed out. I would pass out in bars, and it was really a horrible time. I was always in trouble with the law and just constantly, always binge drinking and getting in trouble. It was a very, very messy time for me. But I went through a lot. And when I became a mother for the first time, regardless of that moment, it didn't stop me from drinking. I would constantly be going back and forth in this battle with alcohol. I would be sober for 1, maybe 2 years, and then I'd be back to drinking. And it was a constant fluctuation. And my children were suffer because I was focused on my selfishness. My kids suffered a lot because of my own actions. I do want to share one story with you that happened, that actually happened to me. So one night, I was staying in a hotel. I was out of town. That's why I was in a hotel. My family members were worried about me and worried about my children. And so they contacted my best friend who lived in the same area where I was staying. My friend came to check on me, and they went to the front desk of the hotel. They actually called the police on us and called child welfare for a welfare check. They broke into the hotel room. And I was very confused when they busted in. I didn't know what was happening, what was wrong, because I was just chatting with my cousin on the video phone when the police busted into the room. And like I said, I was very confused. I was trying to write back and forth with the cops. They came right up to me, and I started using a pen and paper, just a notepad to write back and forth with them. And I asked the cops, please request an interpreter. I don't understand your writing. The police officer really had a terrible handwriting. So I asked, please call an interpreter. And the officer got irate and in my face and threatened to put me in jail for child endangerment and neglect. And I was just completely lost in this. Like, I was so confused. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, they're fine. No one's hurting them. No one's neglecting them. They're fine. And it just went south from there. And he was yelling in my face, right in my face, raising his fist, looking like he was about to attack. And I was so afraid. I have never been so scared before. It was experiencing that racism and that hatred right there in front of me. I had never experienced anything like that before. I was truly terrified. And I started crying, and I just was afraid I was going to lose my kids if that happened. And it made me go into drinking even more. And I was crying, and I just felt lost. I was lost in this toxic world of drinking and depression and crying, and I just saying to myself, I can't live without my kids. The cops are doing this to me on purpose from this hate. And it was really just that moment hit me and knocked me down. I felt completely lost. I hit rock bottom when I lost my kids as a result of that. And then one day I just woke up. I decided to get up and ask for help. And so I went to go see a person at MADAC, the Meskwaki Alcohol and Drug Abuse Center. And so I went up and I asked for help. I asked, please, I want to get better. I want to get my kids back. I want to be a better person. And so they were trying to figure out with me how best to go about it. And they said they had deaf resources with an ASL interpreter, counselors, and everything with full communication in American Sign Language. And so I said, sure. And so they sent me to Red Road, to Minnesota, the interpreter for treatment for about a month. And it was a place that focused on Native recovery. And so one other term I learned during this time is wellbriety. So I sat in like this, touching my chest and coming out for strength, well, variety. It helps lift up your spirits. So if you sign it with your left hand over your heart, and you lift up your spirit. And so that's why I started learning about that during treatment. And I am so grateful for that opportunity. And I was accepting of all this help that came out for me. And I just want to stress, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. People will be there to help. And so I'm very grateful for having that opportunity. And when I got home, I had become stronger. I knew I could do things on my own. I could get my kids back. And then when I did, I was the happiest I had ever been in my life. I held them so close. I'd never been so happy. Sorry. Anyway, I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. So recovery was slow. It was a step by step process. And I'm very grateful to my family and to my friends who stayed with me and supported me on this journey. So after that, I took up the role of being an activist and an advocate and an artist for the Indigenous deaf community. I started getting involved in Standing Rock. And I was involved in the No DAPL, the Dakota Access Pipeline. That group of protesters at Standing Rock defending the land from the government coming in to install a pipeline. So I was involved in that movement. I was involved in MMIW. That's the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women movement. In that community, so I'm involved in that movement, and as well as the LGBT movement. Deaf grassroots. Becoming involved in advocating for ASL becoming a first language for many deaf children. I'm involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. And the PPC, the Poor People's Campaign. Because I believe in human rights. I strongly believe in human rights. People, I cherish people to the core. I have experienced police brutality. Personally, I have been through that. I have felt hated. I have felt the impacts of racism, experienced injustice, inequality. I've experienced slander, and I'm still standing. I'm still here. That is why I'm fighting for you. I believe in you as people. So I want to share with you, I have been recently involved in, I have established a business, SAYBB, which is an acronym for my name, beadwork. I've been involved in beadwork since I was 15. I'm a 5th generation beader in my family. These techniques have been passed down, and I follow it from my mother, Mary Youngbear, who taught me the beadwork tradition. Okay. So I want to share with you my favorite quote. Every struggle, whether won or lost, strengthens for what's next to come. It is not good for people to have an easy life. They become weak and inefficient when they cease to struggle. Some need a series of defeats before developing the strength and courage to win a victory. And who wrote that quote was Victorino Mimbres Apache. And he was alive from 1820 to 1880. My life is not over. I will keep going. Thank you.
Wow. Beautiful.
Wow. That was powerful. Beautiful share. Thank you very much. Sarah Young Bear Brown, everybody. She's got her Facebook page, Deaf Atives, on Facebook. Lots of information. I skim through it sometimes and learn a bunch of new stuff. And sometimes I share some of her posts on our Indigenous Ways posts so we can continue to network and get our information out there. Thank you very much, Sarah Young Bear. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good walk. And continue to walk in a good way, in the beauty way, as a mother, as a sober woman, as an Indigenous woman, as a deaf woman, and as a mother, and as a tribal member, proud and honored to be walking on this planet today with the rest of us five-fingered ones. Thank you very much, Sarah, for your time. And Elena's going to share some words, and then we're going to open up the chat box for everybody to come in.
So thank you so much. We're going to invite everyone to come in. If you're new to this format, welcome. If you're in Zoom, this is now your opportunity to share words, any questions or that for Sarah. If all you need to do is turn on your camera, we are recording, and this is also going out to our social media aspects. If you're on social media, I also want to give a shout out. My auntie Marcia from New Zealand is on. Also Christine Bullock and Hinamore from Aotearoa. So thank you. I really appreciate, or New Zealand, you appreciate doing that. While people are figuring out in Zoom how to come in on board, we're going to just go through what we usually do in this section here, which is looking at what is going on for us.
We have our Wisdom Circle and Concert Series. We're very excited. This Friday, we have Thea Hopkins, and we are excited. She is amazing. Singer-songwriter.
Fabulous.
And you guys will all enjoy her very much. And then we have
From Wampanoag.
And we also have Dr. Corrine Sanchez, who is going to be on. She is from the San Ildefonso tribe of one of the 19 pueblos. She's also the executive director for Tewa Women United.
Yay, Tewa Women United. And the very first Wisdom Circle, her mother, Elder Kathy Sanchez, kicked off this whole series. All of that is archived, IndigenousWays.org. On the virtual events, if you want to see any of those archived, all of them have ASL interpreters, so it's access for all, like all our events. Yesterday, a lot of you know that we did a run, our relief run up to the Navajo Nation, Black Mountain. Some of these are just the pictures of yesterday. I just want to tell you, it takes a village to move mountains. And all I can say to each and every one of you is just thank you for not only your love, support, but for the extraordinary, particularly in this time of where we are. COVID, we're in a world pandemic, but the amount of generosity and the spirit of community right over from the East Coast to the West Coast, from overseas, we're receiving donations through our website. In cash, or what you donated was over $6,000 through the website, and we were able to take over $12,000 of goods, which included a box which had toilet paper, tin food, handy towels, coffee, sugar, flour, all the things that the community needed.
Clorox.
Then there was another box which was all green vegetables. There was a bag of fruit. There was a bag of cleaning supply. And then one of the biggest things that the community really needed was water. So we had containers of water. So we were able to support over 400 families.
No,
Fifth,
Navajos.
families,
Family.
hang on, over 400 people, 52 families or 52 cars that came through. But this could not have been possible without your support. Oh,
Thank you all very much. Those of you that helped with this relief run to the Navajo Nation. We are planning to do it again. We had a lot of blessings and challenges on the 14, 15-hour road trip we took. There were 6 of us, 3 vehicles, trucks filled to the gills. We had 2 filled U-Hauls that we were hauling, so we were literally a convoy. And we need more people to pitch in for the next run. It was a little bit much for the 6 of us women that went and tried to do it. So we learned what we need to do, and we need a little bit more man-woman power for this journey. So we're looking forward to our next run. We're going to start again. We were thinking about maybe not doing it because of the danger of coronavirus.
with what's going on in Arizona.
But one of our sisters, Rachel, that was with us, said, "Are you kidding? We have to go back because we said we would." So this is one of our beautiful elders here at the bottom with her husband. She was very grateful. And our beautiful sister Amber, who worked for 10 hours packing. I mean, look at those boxes. Those boxes are all everything exactly the same. And then we had another woman that showed up with a U-Haul that was just bulk stuff. I mean, tons and tons of canned stuff. So people are still talking on Black Mountain about the gratitude. So thank you very much.
So thank you everyone for making it happen. So we are looking at going out again. This morning it was like too tired, but then after speaking to everyone up on the mountain, Tasha's family members, people that were volunteering and doing that, they were like, no, you've got to go up. 11th of August might be a bit too late with what's going on in Arizona, so we'll more likely bring that up, but we'll share more about that. But thank you everyone for making that happen. This is about us and all our electronic sites. If you do want to donate, whether that be supporting the virtual events or with the Black Mesa Black Mountain Relief Run, these are our electronics. Now we're going to go back into the screen and see everyone's beautiful smiling faces. Woohoo!
All right, you guys.
And now we're all here. And with that extraordinary, powerful speak from Sarah Young Bear Brown, please let's give it up for Sarah and coming on and sharing her extraordinary wisdoms with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, now it's your turn.
Okay, everybody, start to let's ask any
Thank you,
questions
thank you.
you want for Sarah, and then we've got our 2 interpreters on, Martin and Chandra. So those of you that need interpreting services, you can always pin the video so you can see the interpreter if you don't want to be confused by all these little boxes. So just try to work it out as best as you can, and we'll do the voicing and the signing as best as we can on this end. So thank you, Chandra and Martin.
And then while you're doing that, I'm going to go around with those people who's in Zoom, whose cameras aren't on, and I'm just going to click on if you want to start your video. And if you don't, that's cool, but just in case you're stuck out there. And if you're in social media, if you want to ask a question as well, I just wanted to say this. Amber Garland, who helped us yesterday, she said, thank you so much. Your courage, energy to stay on the recovery road, Sarah. Lots of love. We don't do this alone. Know that we are all here for you. So that's from Amber Garland. She's in our books of way up there. She spent like 12 hours with us packing yesterday. But now let's hear from you guys.
Okay, whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Ellie? Ellie was raising her hand.
So I couldn't come today, but maybe tomorrow. Chandra.
I'll have to see it in the archive, but I was so excited to see a deaf woman and a Native woman. Oh my goodness. I'm beside myself, and it was a beautiful story, just in its entirety. And I feel that that will help all of us in our recovery and to be strong and to ask for help and receive services. And you are a hero for me. Great job. Great job. Thank you so much. Do you mind if I share your story with others? Is that okay? And I don't know if maybe they can even contact you, if there's a way to contact you via your blog.
And Sarah's saying, oh, sure, if you want to know more or want to ask more questions, feel free to contact me.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to explain and give more direction and talk about what is going on. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say hello and thank you. And maybe others will want to also share their sentiments.
And I'm happy you are here to listen. I'm so happy. I thank you all for joining and listening to my story. It really touches my heart. And to see everyone here from the bottom of my heart. And really these stories required me to give my heart. And I'm so appreciative for you all to be here. And now I can relax.
Terry Vinson wants to say something. TV, did you want to say something?
So inspirational.
Yes, I did. Hello. Hi, can you see? Okay. I was crying so much at your story. It was, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Your compassion and your successes, I really applaud you and I support you all the way. Well done. You're amazing. I always love you and I cherish you.
Thank you. Love sister. You too. That touches my heart.
Much. And your heart is so special. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to see you here. Yeah.
I see Ellie Kidder. Ellie Kidder's waving. I think Ellie wants to talk.
Yes, hello, my name is Ellie, and really, I was crying also. It was a beautiful share. I would feel honored if you would join our page to share information on COVID-19. And it's to share just what's going on with the virus and what is happening, etc. But I feel responsible for sharing this. The interpreter apologizes, it's hard to see the video. Chandra, if you could catch up, my internet is.
Hold on just a second. I would really appreciate if you would join us, this group. I do post a lot of information related to the Native American community, and also related to deaf Native community. And I would be proud if you would be a part of that. Yeah, hugs and kisses. Sarah says, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
While someone's thinking what else to share, this is from Hilda Ritchie, who's on Instagram. She says, Sarah, thank you for sharing your story. May you stay...
I'm sorry, Sarah's asking you to please repeat the name.
Hilda Ritchie and Christine Violet. They're in Wisconsin. She says, thank you, Sarah, for sharing your story. May you stay strong always. Blessings. Thanks to the interpreters.
This is Tasha's voice. Keanu Yazi, I know you're out there somewhere and you've got your video. I know it's your first time on. Keanu, it's K long hair. If you want to join back on, you can unmute your video screen so you can come back on, Keanu. Does anybody else want to share? Nancy Blanchard, I see you, Nancy. Or Susan. Okay, so Susan DeBalt.
Oh, I don't have anything. Susan, you share. Susan. Oh, is my video freezing? Okay, anyway, hi everybody. You'll notice that I'm signing. I understand exactly what you mean in using the different sign for Native Americans. This is the interpreter speaking. The video is a little bit choppy. I missed the last part. I'm here in Canada and we use the sign for Indigenous. And I noticed that that Sarah kind of uses two. She goes between two different signs.
Oh, yes, I see. Yeah. So this one specific sign I use specifically for Indigenous. Some people prefer to use it like this, going away, and another kind of going towards each other. I use it where the hands kind of go towards each other. For Native American, I see some people use the F handshake from the cheek near the hair. For myself, I use the V handshake that stripes along the high cheekbone. But it really depends on how you self-identify and how your particular community identifies as well, whether it's as Indigenous or Native. But I prefer to identify myself as Meskwaki because that is where my roots are. So that's what I use to define myself, Meskwaki. I hope that is explained clear enough for everyone.
Yes, I did want to ask. I know that many people still sign Native American using the F handshake.
Yeah, there's a variety.
But our video is frozen. But I think I'm going to stop using that.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, I was just checking out with Keanu, and I asked him if he wanted to come back in. So my fear is that when we asked to turn off the camera, that he just jumped out altogether, and so we'll be in touch with Keanu. So
yeah, I think I saw him do that.
Yeah, I think that was a misunderstanding. Oops. All right, Dr. Annette Diarmata. We need to take the mute off.
Mute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hi. Hello, everybody. And Sarah, thank you so much for sharing with us your powerful medicine, your story. It's very emotional and very powerful at the same time. I really appreciate it. I think that your struggles and linking everything as well to the fight against colonization and emotional colonization and that pain rings really powerfully, and I want to thank you and to tell you that we are here, and thank you for saying that one should call for help, because many times we think that we're alone and we don't reach out, especially if we feel like we can take care of things. So that means a lot. So I really thank you for sharing with us your story and everything that you're doing. Thank you so much.
What about Christina from New York City? Christina,
Thank
our
you for
native sister
that.
from New York.
And I'm here to thank you for listening to my story as well. Thank you for that. Who, Tosh?
Christina, Christina, Christina from New York City. Christina,
Where is your picture, Christina?
there she is. Christina. Christina. Yes, okay.
Oh, yes, I'm here. Hi. What did I miss?
Oh, this is Tosh. I just wanted to see if you wanted to say something tonight because, you're so far away. You're in New York City. How's it going in New York City?
Oh, well, I am here in New York. The COVID deaths have decreased. The stores reopened this past Monday. We still have to wear masks and socially distance,
Wow.
but this is the first time that I have been out to the store to buy something in a long time. And really, we're just separating by 6 feet. And even the carts are separated. So it felt safe. I wore a mask when I went out. Um, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to get on an airplane just yet. I'd like to visit my father. His birthday is in August. But I know that there's going to be another spike with this pandemic. And so I'm not sure if I'm ready to travel just yet. Um, but overall, good. I'm good. And I would like to add, Sarah Bear, thank you so much for sharing your life story to tears. About my father, who also has struggled with alcoholism all of his life. And he wasn't around much. He was either drinking or gambling, and now he's in recovery. He's in recovery from both alcohol and gambling, and he's doing well, just
Good,
like you.
good.
And so if anybody wants to become sober, they can do it. I know that
Yeah.
it's a tough road to walk. Um, and really, I'm proud of you. I remember meeting you some time ago
Oh, where?
at IDC.
Oh,
Yeah,
New York. Oh,
that,
wow. That was a long
at the
time ago. That was
Halloween event. Uh-huh. I remember you.
good to see you again.
And I also remember a few other, Patty Bird, Susan Bird,
Uh-huh.
meeting them
Yeah.
as well. So it is wonderful
Yeah.
to see you again. And I'll have
Great
to
to see you
connect
here.
with you online.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Because I also am indigenous from my father's
Oh,
side.
nice.
So I would love to connect. And thank you again, Elena and Tosh, for allowing me to be involved and to really reconnect with the deaf world. Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. This is Tosh, and this is a wonderful way to meet everybody on the Zoom events that we've been able to be so blessed to have, thanks to these wonderful funders that believe in Indigenous ways. And I just want to thank all of you. And if anybody else, there's many people that have not shared tonight. There's, Carmen, Nancy, Darren, Marcia, ASL Love. Would love to hear from you, ASL Love. Just your name right there on the screen, ASL Love. I'm like, ooh, what do you got to say? I want to hear from you.
Tosh, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Marcia, who is my
Okay.
Marcia. In the pink shirt.
Yes. I'm here to support Sarah. I'm here to support Sarah.
Awesome.
And
This is Tosh.
lift
Thank you,
her
Sarah.
up. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we are at the top of the hour. If everybody's good to go, I guess we can call it a night unless anybody wants to say anything else. We've just wanted to reiterate that we thank you all for supporting Indigenous Ways.
And then, you know, just before we close out, you know, a lot of the things, as all of you have shared and been so profoundly and deeply touched by Sarah, this will be archived at IndigenousWays.org virtual events if you want to share the video with your friends. Dr. Annette Aramara and Laura Perez are here. They were last week in the concert series and also the Wisdom Circle. The archives go back to April 1st. Incredible wisdoms from many people who have been on. We're looking forward to getting next month going. Who we've got, as Tash was sharing on Wednesday at the Wisdom Circle, we've got Dr. Corinne Sanchez who will be here. And then this coming Friday, please be sure to tune in for the incredible Thea Hopkins from the Wampanoag tribe, a phenomenal artist, singer-songwriter, and person. But I also want to say before I give it to Tash that this is only possible because of our sponsors, which include First Peoples Fund, the National Endowment of the Arts, New Mexico Arts, the Santa Fe City of Arts and Cultural Development Department. Also for the Wisdom Circle, that also includes the New Mexico Humanities Council, as well as the National Endowment of Humanities, to be able to bring these extraordinary presenters to you. But and our interpreters, but this also wouldn't be possible if you weren't here. So with that, Tash, before we close up and give one more round for Sarah, is there anything you want to
Christina
mention?
had her hand up. Christina had her hand up. Christina, did you want to share? Christina from New York City. I'm not sure what your sign name is. Did you want to say something, Christina? I saw your hand up. Your hand was up, Christina.
Oh, me? I was just going to say thank you to Carmen, but she just signed off.
Oh.
I actually invited her to join, so I was going to thank her for joining, and then also Albert, I think that was. Thank you so much for joining us Alexander. Wallace, thank you for joining us this evening.
So, like Christina,
Jerry Barney, would you like to say something, Jerry?
Just before you do, Jerry, like Christina was saying, this is kind of like people sharing and bringing their friends in. So, thank you for doing that, Christina. Jerry, is there anything you want to add?
Jerry Barney, thank you for that beautiful painting you did. That was out of this world. It knocked our socks off. We hand delivered the
which was
beautiful painting
so worth it.
You did
today.
to honor our interpreter for the Buffy St. Marie concert interpreting. Thank you very much, Jerry. You're an amazing artist on top of a singer-songwriter, and I think our interpreter was surprised.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, let's please give it up for sharing this incredible wisdom, her amazing story, her amazing walk, and supporting her people, the people, for her courageous walk. And it can only be done by being so honest, so authentic, and coming and sharing with tonight. Let's give it up for the one and only Sarah Bear Brown. Woohoo!
Love you, Sarah. Everybody have a great night. We love you all. We'll see you all back here Friday night. And if not, we'll see you next Wednesday with Dr. Corinne Sanchez, San Ildefonso Pueblo. Thank you, Chandra and Martin. You guys have a great night, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ash.